Once upon a time in a village called Iyarin, there lived two young girls, Dara and Kemi. Dara was the daughter of the richest man in the village, Chief Adekunle, while Kemi was the daughter of a poor farmer. From a young age, everyone in the village knew who Dara was. She was not only rich, but also very beautiful. Her skin shone like the morning sun, and her hair was thick and long. People always admired her, and many young men in the village believed that one day they could marry her. But as beautiful as Dara was, her heart was not. She was proud and rude. Whenever she passed through the village square, she would look down on everyone, especially those who were not as rich as her. Even Kemi, her childhood friend, was not spared from her arrogance. Kemi, on the other hand, was a quiet and humble girl. Though she was poor, she was kind-hearted, always helping others. She never cared about her poverty or compared herself to Dara. One day, when the young men of the village started showing interest in marriage, they began visiting Dara's father's house to ask for her hand in marriage. They believed that marrying Dara would bring wealth and prosperity into their lives. But each time a man came to see Dara, they would leave Chief Adekunle's house disappointed. Dara would laugh at them and send them away. Why will I marry you? Do you have money like my father? Can you even afford the kind of clothes I wear? Dara would say, mocking the young men. As time passed, the news of Dara's pride spread throughout the village. Even the men who once admired her beauty started losing interest. They began to realize that no amount of beauty could cover a proud heart. One by one, the men stopped coming to her house. Some even said, no matter how fine she is, I can't marry a woman with such a bad attitude. Meanwhile, Kemi, who was always humble and hardworking, became more loved by the people. Even though she did not have money, many people admired her kindness. She always helped her parents on the farm, carried water from the stream, and assisted the elderly in the village. Despite her struggles, she never compared. She was content with what little she had. One evening, as the village was preparing for a festival, Dara, dressed in her finest clothes, stood by the market square, hoping someone would notice her beauty. She wanted everyone to know that she was still the most beautiful girl in Iyarin. But to her surprise, no one paid her attention. The young men who once admired her beauty now only looked at her with pity. Some even whispered, she is beautiful, but who will marry her with that kind of behavior? Dara grew angry. She stomped her feet and went back home, furious that no one praised her beauty anymore. How dare they ignore me? I am still the richest and most beautiful girl in this village, she shouted as she walked. Days turned into weeks, and Dara realized that fewer and fewer people visited her father's house. Her father, Chief Adekunle, also began to worry that his daughter might never marry. He tried to speak to Dara about her behavior, but she refused to listen. Baba, I will not marry any poor man from this village. Only a rich prince or chief deserve me. Dara would say with confidence. Then one by one, something unexpected happened. A blind farmer named Ayodele came to the village. He was poor, but he was known for being very hardworking. He farmed on his own, despite his blindness, and always found ways to help others. Although he could not see, his heart was full of love and kindness. Many people in the village respected him for his strength and determination. To everyone's surprise, Ayodele approached Dara's father one afternoon, asking for her hand in marriage. Chief Adekunle laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. "You, a poor blind farmer, wants to marry my daughter, the most beautiful girl in the village?" Chief Adekunle asked, still laughing. But Ayodele did not back down. "I may not have wealth, and I may not be able to see her beauty, but I know I can love her with all my heart." When Dara heard about Ayodele's requests, she was furious. "A poor blind man? How dare he think he can marry me?" she shouted. But her father, tired of all the rejections from the other suitors, began to consider Ayodele's offer. He thought to himself, no one else has come forward to marry her. Maybe this is her last chance. Dara refused to even think about it. "I will never marry him," she declared. But fate had its plans. And soon, something happened that no one in the village expected. As days passed, Chief Adekunle grew more and more worried. He knew that if Dara did not marry soon, she would become the subject of gossip in the village. People were already whispering about how her pride had driven away all the eligible young men. Chief Adekunle made up his mind and called Dara into his chambers one evening. "Dara, I have given you time to choose a husband, but all you have done is chase them away with your rude and attitude. Now, Ayodele, the blind farmer, has come to ask for your hand in marriage. As your father, I have decided you will marry him," Chief Adekunle said firmly. Dara's eyes widened in shock. "Baba, you can't be serious. Me? Marry a blind man? What will people say? I am the most beautiful girl in this village. You can't do this to me." But Chief Adekunle shook his head. "Dara, beauty without a good character is useless. The same villagers who once admired you are now laughing behind your back. This is the only man who has come forward with a genuine heart. You will marry Ayodele, and that is the final." Dara cried and begged, but her father's decision was unshakable. She had no choice but to accept the marriage. The village was in shock when they heard the news. Some even laughed, saying, "The rich, proud girl has finally met her match." Others felt sorry for Ayodele, believing that Dara's pride would make his life difficult. The wedding day came, but it was not the grand event Dara had always dreamed of. There were no fancy decoration, no big crowd of admirers, just a simple ceremony at Ayodele's humble home. Dara wore a beautiful gown, but her face was filled with bitterness. She still could not believe she was marrying a poor blind farmer. After the wedding, Dara moved into Ayodele's small mud house on the outskirts of the village. At first, she refused to do anything. She stayed inside the house, sulking and complaining. How can I live like that? This house is too small. There's no one to serve me, she would say every day. Ayodele, however, never complained. He was patient with Dara and treated her with kindness. Even though he was blind, he worked hard on his farm and made sure there was food on the table. But Dara refused to appreciate his efforts. One evening, after weeks of living in misery, something strange happened. Dara went to fetch water from the village stream, and on her way back, she slipped and fell, spilling all the water she had carried. As she struggled to stand, she noticed an old woman passing by. The woman looked at her and said, "My dear, why do you look so troubled?" Dara, frustrated, replied, "I have married a blind man. My life is miserable. I don't deserve this." The old woman smiled and said, "You may not know it now, but the greatest blessings often come from the most expected place." Dara scoffed and ignored the old woman's word. But something about the encounter stayed with her. As she walked back home, she began to think about her life. For the first time in her life, she realized how much Ayodele did for her. Even though she had never lifted a finger to help him, he had never raised his voice or complained, despite her rudeness. That night, Dara could not sleep. She kept thinking about the old woman's word. Could it be that she had been wrong all along? Has she been too blinded by her pride to see the goodness in Ayodele's heart? The next morning, Dara decided to do something she had never done before. She woke up early morning and went to the farm with Ayodele. At first, Ayodele was surprised, but he did not say anything. He showed her how to plant crops and tend to the farm. As the day went by, Dara began to help more and more. She found that the hard work brought her a sense of peace she had never felt before. Over time, Dara's heart began to change. She no longer saw Ayodele as the poor, blind farmer she was forced to marry. She started to admire his strength, his kindness, and his patience. Despite his blindness, he had never allowed his condition to stop him from working hard and providing for them. Slowly, as Dara realized that Ayodele was worth more than all the rich suitors who had come for her in the past, one evening, as they sat outside their house, watching the sunsets, Dara turned to Ayodele and said, "Ayodele, I am sorry for how I treated you. I was wrong. I was too proud to see your worth. But now I understand. You are the best man I could have ever married." Ayodele smiled and held her hand. Dara, it is not never too late to change. I knew you had a good heart deep inside. I am glad you finally find out. From that day on, Dara and Ayodele lived happily together. Dara became a hardworking, humble woman, and the people in the village who once mocked her began to admire her for her transformation. Hey there, amazing viewers. I hope you all enjoy this story from African Tales by Dami about Dara and Ayodele. If you are loving it, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more exciting stories. I did love to hear what you think will happen next. Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to share this video with your friends and family so they can enjoy it too. Thanks for watching and supporting African Tales by Dami. Let's keep the fun going.